So, meanwhile, you did a trip to England. This is the first time you saw skinheads before.
Well, I saw skinheads
Ireland.
I got my head shaved in Ireland. I had seen skinheads one time before in London, but I didn't know what the fuck they were. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I could tell that there was something, they had an interesting look, like they, but the shaved head thing was what got me. And so I met skinheads in England in the 70s, but I got my head shaved in Belfast in 1980.
And here's what they told you, going back to the book. I always remembered what the Belfast skins told me. Teach America about skinheads. The first few friends of mine to shave their heads included Adam Yauch, you know who that is, from the Beastie Boys, and a few others who weren't really skinheads in the stereotypical thug way. They just liked the look and the music. I mean, we were all into the early Oi-style music, Cockney Rejects and bands like that, even though it wasn't really called Oi yet. The two-tone thing was happening with all the ska bands jumping off, like the Specials and Selector and Madness, and they were all popular with the skinheads early on, but there still wasn't a skinhead scene in New York. Just a few friends of mine who were up on it. But within a couple of years, all that would change. So obviously the typical person that doesn't follow the music scene, at least at a deeper level, when they think skinhead, they immediately think of sort of the branch that went off and got the most press, which was the neo-Nazi skinheads. But the origins of the skinheads is actually black dudes, rude boys, ska bands like the Specials and Madness, and that's kind of what you saw. And
I mean, I actually talk about a little bit of that in the book. I give a little bit of the historical information just to give people a clearer idea. But the media always latches onto whatever is most sensationalistic. They try to always grab the worst aspects of what people are doing, and that it's. You got it,
Yeah. I mean, I'll say one more thing. The New York scene had always been more diverse than most hardcore scenes. There'd always been Spanish kids, black kids, Asian kids. A lot of the early New York hardcore skinheads were Spanish.
Yeah.
Roger from Agnostic Front, which if you don't know, Agnostic Front is probably, they might be considered like they're definitely one of the biggest sort of skinhead bands from America.
And they were absolutely the first real, like, New York skinhead band, I mean, but, And
he's Cuban. Roger Ray is Cuban.
I mean.
Diego was Puerto Rican, as was Jose from the Mob. And so were a lot of skinheads that came around later. Even back in the Max's days, you had the Bad Brains, Pure Hell, The Influence were one of the first real New York hardcore bands, and they were all black.
Yeah, I think where you just pulled up, I was just talking about the diversity on the scene in New York. New York has always been different from other places, as that's one of the things that's cool about it here.
You could say it's fairly diverse here in New York City.
Fuck.
Yeah. This has got to be one of the most. I bet you that. I don't know. You have to look at this, but is New York City one of the most diverse places on the planet? As far as like different languages being spoken.
I mean, one thing I noticed that you can eat any type of food here.
Yeah.
So
cooked by the people that invented that food.
So I mean, we had
that moved here like 3 weeks ago.
That's one thing I always loved about it here.
We just had Gangnam style
dumplings.
And
sushi.
Yeah, dumplings and sushi served by Gangnam style.
The actual guy.
And meanwhile, at this time, back to the book, I was drinking a lot, huffing glue, taking pills, and lots of LSD and whatever else. So this whole time, that's what's just prevalent in the scene.
Yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah, New York was very much... our scene liked to get fucked up. In DC, where they invented straight edge, they were all about being clean and sober, and God bless them. And that caught on like wildfire in other places. The straight edge movement spread and whatnot, and we always went the extreme opposite. We were like, they had a song, "Don't drink, don't smoke, don't fuck." we used to sing, you know, we drink, we smoke, we fuck you, you know, and yeah, we're a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, unfortunately, you know, at that point in my life and in the hardcore scene, it was often cool how fucked up you could be.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure it's that way in a lot of the world, and a lot of youth culture, and in a lot of, you know, crews and gang culture. And
you know, I don't mean to theorize, but I'm going to do it a little bit and philosophize a little bit. You know, like cultures back in the day, or some cultures even today, when you want to prove that you will sacrifice yourself for the tribe a little bit, like I'll go hunt that lion, or I'll go out and do something that's hard, and I'll take risks for the group, and I'll prove that I don't care what happens to me.
yeah,
I
shit has been
sometimes
replaced.
I think that, hey, I'm going to prove that I don't care what's happened to me. Watch me drink
Yeah.
this, watch me shoot this, watch me smoke this, and whatever.
No, I agree. I think that instinct that's still in us doesn't have a place to be used properly.
And I'll tell you where I got that philosophy from. In the SEAL teams, man, when I came in, it was like the way that you kind of proved that you were tough was drinking and fighting, right?
Yeah,
drinking and
you
fighting.
take everything to a fucking extreme.
Look
if you
how
fucking
much-
drink 5, I'll drink 10.
Yeah.
You fought 2 motherfuckers, I'll fight fucking 5 motherfuckers.
And that's what it was.
Yeah.
And when the war started, it's not like that stopped, because that stuff still goes on. But it definitely, in my mind, I was thinking, and we still drank and we still partied and got after it, but it was different, man. It was different to all of a sudden be saying, hey, look, you know where I need to prove myself is on the battlefield. I need to be ready for that. And so I when I apply that to like all of society, it seems like a young kid like you who's 15, 16 years old, how do you prove that you're tough? How do you prove your manhood? Oh, you think you can drink 12
You
shots?
go
I'll drink
above
20.
and- exactly.
Bring it.
Yeah.
And
No, you
that's a
take
jacked up
everything-
thing.
yeah.
And you know, you talked about like the straight edge movement, and those guys, it's interesting.
Well, they took it to another level too. They stopped fucking.
Yeah.
They stopped drinking, smoking, and fucking.
And then how did they then prove that they were tough? They would go out and fight and beat up people that were drunk and shit like that.
Well,
that
that's what
too.
started happening in some scenes. I mean,
Yeah.
because like in DC, those guys were always, they always tried to be more PC. They
Yeah.
always had a little bit more consciousness. But in a lot of other places, you had bands like, you know, Uniform.
I got in trouble with Ian McKay at remember when Fugazi came on the scene?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Fugazi, one of my buddies from DC, this is back in the day, and one of those guys, one of my buddies from DC, he sent me a demo tape, and he's like, "Hey, this is Ian's new band."
And
They're
you're
called
like,
Fugazi. No, I was like, cool, and
Yeah.
that's a great album.
No,
That
actually,
first-
I like- yeah,
Oh, it's a
I
great
like them.
album. And so we went and saw him in Brooklyn. Me and my boys, we went down to Brooklyn to see him, and we went berserk
And he wasn't feeling
and
it.
he was like, and he had like longer curly hair, and he's standing there, and they played their first song, and we just cleared out the
Yeah,
pit
yeah,
and destroying
yeah. And
everything.
he was
And
not
he
into
was
it.
like, hey, I'm just trying to think of what he said, so he knows I'm not bullshitting if he ever hears this. He said something along the lines of like, let's leave our machoism and our egos at the door. You know, if you're gonna dance, be cool, or something like that. And so then I was like,
dude,
what do I do now? Like, your music rocks. I want to break stuff. And I couldn't. So we
yeah,
just
no,
kinda
I
wrapped
remember
up.
when he started going that route, and you know what? God bless him, man.
No, man, you said here you got a lot of respect for that.
Ian
I
is
do too.
fucking cool as
Yeah,
fuck, man. You know,
absolutely,
and
man.
he has always had his integrity, and as he matured, you know, his way of thinking.
Yeah, and you know what?
matured,
You gotta
you know.
respect. I mean, he
Yeah.
held the line
No,
with
dude,
what he did.
fuck yeah,
His
man.
record, he never sold out.
Dude, you know what? Hats off.
For
You know,
sure.
He's fucking legit, man.
For sure,
I
man.
got nothing but
For
respect
sure.
for him.
Now, at this time,
I did used to break his balls fucking relentlessly though, but that's just the way I am. If I like someone and respect them, chances are I'm going to really fuck with them whenever I have the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah,
so fuck you.
yeah, I hear you, man.